A step in the right direction. U.S. and China signal global trade healing. By Azlan Adnan. In a world plagued by geopolitical tension and economic uncertainty, the announcement on May 12th that the United States and China have agreed to roll back tariffs represents a rare moment of diplomatic breakthrough. For the first time in years, the two largest economies in the world have chosen cooperation over conflict, signaling the potential for global trade healing. The temporary truce, designed to last 90 days, involves a significant reduction in tariffs, which had escalated to unprecedented levels during the trade war. This move, although not permanent, opens a new chapter in U.S.-China relations and serves as a hopeful message for the future of global commerce. Under the agreement, the U.S. will reduce tariffs on Chinese goods, which had been hiked to as high as 145% to 30%. In return, China will lower its duties on U.S. imports from 125% to just 10%. This action will result in the removal of 91% of existing tariffs and the suspension of another 24% during the truce period. Notably, certain targeted tariffs, such as those on Chinese fentanyl-related chemicals, will remain in place for strategic purposes. However, the broader impact of the deal is undeniably positive, symbolizing a shift from a cycle of tit-for-tat tariffs to one focused on dialogue and mutual benefit. Beyond the immediate tariff reductions, the agreement sets up a structure for ongoing communication, co-led by U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Chinese Vice Premier He Lifeng. This bilateral framework will ensure that the U.S. and China can continue to address and resolve disputes in a structured, transparent manner. It is an institutional shift away from the volatility that had plagued U.S.-China relations for several years, providing a foundation for more stable economic cooperation moving forward. Global reactions, a cautious optimism. The announcement of the tariff rollback has been met with a wave of optimism across global markets. Investors responded positively to the news, with U.S. stock indices such as the Dow Jones, S&P 500, and NASDAQ climbing by 2.2%, 2.8%, and 3.8% respectively. The rally was mirrored in Europe, where key indices like the Stoxx Europe 600 rose by 1%. In Asia, financial markets, including Hong Kong's Hang Seng, gained over 3%, reflecting a widespread sense of relief and renewed confidence in international trade. For the European Union, the U.S.-China agreement is a welcome development, but one that must be approached with caution. While European markets benefited from the general stabilization of trade tensions, EU leaders, including French President Emmanuel Macron, emphasized that this is only a first step. Macron warned that continued U.S. protectionist policies, such as tariffs on European goods, remain a concern. The EU has consistently advocated for a rules-based, multilateral approach to global trade. And while the U.S.-China rollback is a positive development, Europe will be keen to ensure that the underlying risks of economic fragmentation do not persist. The EU's message is clear. A global economic recovery can only be achieved through cooperation, not isolationism. Southeast Asia, home to some of the world's most dynamic economies, has also responded positively to the easing of U.S.-China trade tensions. ASEAN, which plays a crucial role in global supply chains, has emphasized the importance of dialogue and multilateral engagement. The bloc expressed relief that the rollback signals an end to the escalating trade war, which had put pressure on ASEAN economies. Malaysia, as the chair of ASEAN, has indicated that it will work on a regional strategy to further mitigate any adverse effects of tariff impositions, ensuring that ASEAN nations remain resilient and adaptable to global economic shifts. Countries within ASEAN are taking proactive steps to adjust to the changing trade landscape. For instance, Vietnam has signaled its willingness to deepen its trade relations with the United States, particularly in agricultural exports. Similarly, Thailand is exploring diversifying its export markets towards China to minimize dependence on U.S. trade. These countries, which are highly integrated into global production networks, view the easing of tensions as an opportunity to recalibrate their own trade policies to better align with global trends. A new path for global trade. The U.S.-China tariff rollback is more than just a trade agreement. It is a symbol of the potential for global economic healing. After years of escalating tariffs, trade wars, and uncertainty, This truce demonstrates that cooperation is not only possible, but preferable. Both the U.S. and China have demonstrated a willingness to engage in dialogue and compromise, and the international community can only hope that this is the beginning of a new era of trade relations. The agreement also provides a much-needed reprieve for industries and markets worldwide that had been suffering under the strain of high tariffs. For manufacturers, exporters, and consumers alike, the rollback offers a glimmer of hope that global trade can return to a more predictable, rules-based system. In the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has already caused severe economic disruption, the agreement offers a much-needed boost to global economic recovery efforts. However, the temporary nature of the agreement means that caution is still necessary. While the truce has been hailed as a positive development, there is still much work to be done to resolve the underlying structural issues in U.S.-China relations. Both nations must continue to engage in meaningful dialogue to address the complexities of their trade and economic policies. Moreover, other major economies, including the European Union, Japan, and India, must work collaboratively to ensure that the global trade system remains open and equitable for all. Conclusion: a turning point for global trade. In an era where protectionism and nationalistic policies have dominated global discourse, the U.S.-China tariff rollback serves as a refreshing reminder of the power of diplomacy and cooperation. It shows that even the most entrenched economic disputes can be addressed through constructive dialogue. The agreement between the world's two largest economies is a significant step in the right direction, not only for the U.S. and China, but for the global economy at large. For the world's other major trading nations, the message is clear. It is time to refocus on multilateralism, collaboration, and the long-term benefits of open trade. The U.S.-China agreement may be temporary, but it offers a hopeful glimpse into a future where nations work together to foster stability, growth, and shared prosperity. The world must now build on this momentum and ensure that the cooperative spirit of this deal leads to a new chapter of global trade relations, one marked by mutual respect, fairness, and inclusivity. Sources: AP News. 2025, May 12. U.S. and China take a step back from sky-high tariffs, agree to pause for 90 days. The Washington Post. 2025, May 12. U.S.-China trade war eases as tariffs fall. Reuters. 2025, May 12. European shares rise as U.S.-China hail constructive Geneva trade talks. China Briefing. 2025. A heartfelt light. To every soul whose hand did give, you've helped me dream, helped me live. In darkest hours your light came through, with hearts so kind, so pure, so true. Your gifts, like stars in deepest night, have steered me gently toward the light. Each coin, each word, each silent prayer, a thread of hope so rich, so rare. My eyes once dimmed now seek the skies, and slowly clearer visions rise. Because of you, I dare to see the world again, its grace, its plea. Your compassion's flame will not just stay with me alone. It lights the way for others wandering through despair, to feel the warmth of selfless care. You've shown what love in action means, in quiet ways through giving scenes. You've built a bridge from soul to soul and made the broken feel more whole. So let this thanks rise like a song, a melody both soft and strong. May your example gently call more hearts to rise to give. To fall into the joy of lifting pain, of planting hope where none remains. Your kindness walks beside me still, a light, a love, a living will.
don't forget to hit that subscribe button to show your support.